Daily Trust News Center. This is the News Hour.
On News Hour tonight, Senate rejects President Tinubu's request to deploy troops to Niger. Police kill one, arrest 6 other armed bandits in Zurmi Gusau local government area of Zamfara state. Rising cost of living is pushing many in Kebbi state to self-help. And on the foreign scene, more than 100 evacuated as wildfire separates in Spain on Spain-France border. Hello and welcome to Trust TV's News Hour. I am Abdurrahman Omar. Thanks for joining. The Senate has asked the chairman of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, and other leaders of the region to tread softly in addressing the political quagmire in the Niger Republic, rising from a closed-door session that lasted close to 2 hours to discuss the letter written to the Senate on Friday by President Bola Tinubu on the decisions taken by the regional body. The Senate asked ECOWAS to strengthen political and diplomatic options and other means to resolve the political impasse in the Niger Republic. Reading the resolutions of the senators after the meeting, the President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, said the Senate condemns the Niger coup in totality and commended the chairman, President Bola Tinubu, and other heads of state of the other states of ECOWAS for their prompt response and the positions taken on the unfortunate development in the Niger Republic.
The Senate calls on the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as chairman of ECOWAS to further encourage other leaders of ECOWAS to strengthen their political and diplomatic options and other means with a view to resolving the political impasse in the Niger Republic. The Senate pledges the total support of the Senate and by extension the National Assembly to the ECOWAS leadership under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in resolving the political situation in Niger and returning the country to democratic governance in the nearest future. The leadership of the Senate is mandated to further engage with the President and Commander-in-Chief on behalf of the Senate and the National Assembly on how best to resolve the issues in view of the hitherto existing cordial relationship between Nigerians and Nigerians.
Hours after President Bola Tinubu formally informed the Senate of an impending military action against Copies in the Niger Republic, who overthrew President Mohamed Bazoum last week, Northern senators have kicked against the move. The Northern senators at a press conference in Abuja called for caution on the planned military action and kicked against economic sanctions being imposed on the country by ECOWAS. The Northern senators also acknowledged the effort of the ECOWAS leaders under the chairmanship of Nigeria's President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in resolving the situation in the Niger Republic, but advised against the military action.
As a Democrat and representative of the people, we are here by urging our colleague, more especially from the other region, to observe due diligence in invoking Section 5, subsection 4, A and B, which gives the National Assembly power to approve the request, or more particular, Senate power to approve the request of Mr. President when we intend to participate or to join any foreign or to engage our military in foreign war. This is our position, and we are urging our colleagues and Nigerians to see reason on using democratic, political, and diplomatic way in reaching out to the military junta of Niger to resolve the issue.
The group maintained that ECOWAS should focus on political and diplomatic means to restore democratic government in the Niger Republic. And in the meantime, the Jama'atul Nasrul Islam (JNI) has cautioned that military intervention may impact the peace and stability of both nations, especially in Nigerian states sharing borders with Niger Republic, which could have unintended consequences. The JNI, in a statement by its Secretary General Khalid Abubakar Aliyu, expressed concern over the seizure show of power from a democratically elected President Bazoum through military coup in Niger Republic. It firmly noted the relevance of upholding democratic principles and the rule of law to foster stability, development, and steady progress within nations. According to the statement, the JNI, representing the collective voice of the Muslim Ummah, commends the efforts of so far undertaken by the Nigerian government, particularly the initiation of a dialogue process aimed at resolving the crisis in the Niger Republic. It admitted that while this attempt may not have yielded the desired results, it demonstrates Nigeria's commitment to peaceful resolutions. The group, however, cautioned against the pursuit of military action as a means to restore democracy in order to safeguard the peace and stability of the northern states of Nigeria and the Republic of Niger. Meanwhile, the police in Zamfara have repelled an armed bandit attack, killing one and leaving many others with gunshot wounds in Zurmi local government area of Zamfara state. The command's police public relations officer ASP Yazid Abubakar disclosed this while briefing journalists in Gusau on the successes the command has achieved in the last few months in its ongoing efforts to curb banditry and other crimes in Zamfara.
The public relations officer of the Zamfara State Police Command, Yazid Abubakar, who addressed newsmen on behalf of the Commissioner of Police, CP Muhammad Bunu, said police tactical operatives attached to 34 Police Mobile Force PMF Hombe deployed to Magaria area in Zurmi local government area of the state acted on information that 5 armed bandits were planning to attack Muslim worshippers during Jumat prayer at Kwata village in Magaria district of Zurmi local government area. Upon receiving the information, the police operatives mobilized to the area and confronted the armed bandits and engaged them in a gun battle that lasted for an hour. The police succeeded in killing one armed bandit while several others escaped into the bush with gunshot wounds.
One of the bandits was neutralized while others escaped to the bush, spraying bullets on the path. And the above-mentioned exhibits were recorded from them, were recovered from them. Effort is still on to arrest and prosecute the others.
He also informed journalists that the police nabbed a suspected kidnapper and terrorist informant. According to him, the kidnapper in question has been attacking innocent residents in the Saminaka area of Gusau metropolis. The police spokesperson further revealed that police operatives arrested 4 motorcycle snatchers and receivers of stolen goods at different places in the Gusau metropolis where they had confessed to the crimes.
During the interrogation, the suspect confessed that she has been working with bandit kingpin Dankarami Boska as his informant and tasked her to monitor policemen at Zurmi division so as to attack the division. The suspect has been investigated and charged to court for prosecution.
The police recovered 2 AK-47 rifles, 4 rounds of 7.62 mm live ammunition, 1 Bajaj motorcycle, 2 Techno handsets containing terrorist GM numbers, 2 vehicles, a red-colored Golf with registration number GWA532BS and black Citroen car with registration number MKA97DH, among others.
The Katsina State Police Command says it has rescued 2 kidnapped students at the Federal University Duzama Fudma, Katsina State, and 1 other victim from their captors. A statement by the command spokesman ASP Abubakar Sadiq Aliyu said the command rescued the students Ibrahim Abdul Wahid and Abdurrahman Wasiu on Friday. The police said 1 Dauda Magini, 55, of Bayan radio cutters in Duzama local government area of the state was also rescued alongside the students. It further stated that the rescue team carved through the bush, successfully located the kidnapped victims and rescued them unhurt, adding that the victims were immediately rushed to the hospital for medical attention. Sustained military operation in Zamfara and Sokoto states may be informed by residents of banditry in the northwest. In the special report, Yushau Ibrahim speaks to locals in the areas taking heat from the crossfire between the armed forces and the bandits. Take a look.
Over the years, competition for land and water between livestock owners and those growing crops has intensified across many parts of Nigeria's northwest region. With over 3 million out of Nigeria's 40 million cotton population, Sokoto State recently recorded a fair share of banditry. What started as localized farmer-herders disputes has degenerated into a more sophisticated and highly organized crime. Few months to the conduct of the 2023 general elections, many communities that were hitherto terrorized by bandits across Sokoto and Zamfara states have enjoyed relative peace as businesses have picked up and academic activities resumed in many schools. Most of the villages that hitherto witnessed series of assaults remain peaceful and free from all forms of banditry and related crimes for months before the election.
On the eve of the election, there was a decline in bandit activities in form of kidnapping, cattle rustling, imposition of levies, gender and sexual violence, and other associated crimes related to the bandits. There are actually so many factors responsible for the decline. One of which is actually the weather. To a very large extent, the election took place during dry season, and by nature of armed banditry, kidnapping, as well as terrorist activities in the northwest, it was expected that their activities usually go down during the dry season because of lack of vegetational cover and all that. That is actually the first factor. And then the second factor, we've also seen dialogues and the negotiation going on between some government officials, one, traditional authorities, and these bad guys. And that also contributed significantly in the decline of their activities. And within the context of the military, we've seen a lot of pressure coming from the security agencies. There has never been a time in the history of armed banditry in the northwest when they had it so bad than on the eve of the elections. We've seen some of the major leaders being taken out. We've seen some of their rank and files actually on the run. We've seen also some camps belonging to some of these notorious bandit leaders being destroyed. For instance, it was on the eve of the election that the notorious bandit Umar Naguna, who was in charge of Isa and the Sabon Benin axis, was actually neutralized. And not only that, within the context of the dialogue again, we've seen each and every political party, particularly the leading parties in the northwest, moving to reach out to some of these bandit leaders. I know there was a very serious discussion between some government officials and traditional authorities with Kachala Turiji, with the same also Umaru Naguna, who is his neighbor, with Dankarami, who is actually in Zurmi, with Alhaja Ado, who is actually in Aleru, with Goska and the rest of them. So by extension, naturally, there was a bit calm.
However, shortly after the transition of government on May 29, some remote communities in the two states have begun to witness an upsurge in attack and kidnappings by the bandits. Although one of the renowned bandits leader, Umaru Nagona, in charge of Sabon Birni Isa axis, was neutralized on the eve of election. However, others like Kachala Turji in Tsape, Dankarami in Zurmi, Ado in Aleru, and Dugaska, among others, resumed operation after the inauguration of the Tinubu-led government. This led to the killing and abduction of innocent people, including women and children, while scores of others were reported banished from their villages.
Well, you know, usually what we believe has happened is before the election, you know, the politicians have their way of having the intermediaries between the bandits and then the government, whereby they negotiated, please allow us to conduct our election. And because they cannot stop them, if they say, please stop everything, they cannot stop. But they might agree temporarily, on a temporary basis, that, okay, we'll allow you to finish your election, and then after election, we can do whatever we want. So I believe maybe that is what happened, but there's no certainty. It just come to us that there was a time, there was a decline, and then suddenly there is an upsurge of the crisis again.
Goronyo, Sabon Birni, Isa, Ilela and Gwadabawa local governments of Sokoto State are among the most hit areas by the activities of bandits in recent times.
As we all know, the general election that occurs in 2023, February, Nigeria experienced one of the most critical elections. As such, electoral activities are very serious, not just to Nigerians, but to the world. Because we have observers foreign, within Africa and outside Africa. As such, being this activity is very important. Probably, the bandit also went back to their various communities to vote. And those from Niger Republic flew to Niger Republic.
Gigani, Araka and the Gidan Kudobo villages in Gwadabawa local government areas of Sokoto State have recently witnessed assaults by suspected bandits. 7 people were confirmed killed in Gigani and several others injured when a gang of suspected bandits attacked the community early last month.
Gaskiya wannan yayana ne, wannan yaran da gani su kuma ɗayan ɗana ne, ɗan yayana ne, ɗayan kuma jikana ne. Kuma sa na tafi na fito gari yawa jiya Laraba, na fito na yau kasuwa. Na bar gida da bayan minti 10 aka kira ni waya aka ce ga abin da yake faruwa. Sun hayo mu gida nan gidanmu, sun samu 'yan uwana sun kakkace.
Some of the victims of Gigani attack who sustained critical injuries spent several days at Gwadabawa General Hospital receiving treatment, while those with minor wounds were treated and discharged. Records at the Gwadabawa General Hospital have indicated that a total of 12 cases of banditry were recorded at the facility in the month of June alone.
Lalle an kawo mana patient na bandit akalla za su iya kai 12 da farkon watan ga zuwa yanzu 15 ga wata. An kawo daga gidan Kudobo, an kawo daga Raka, an kawo daga Gigani, amma mahi yawancin su daga Gigani sun kai. Then remaining patient wanda an ka sassara then daga Gigani sun kai. Gaskiya mahi yawanci waɗanda an ka sassara ma sun yawa jiya. Then I think an samu wajen 5 patient jiya waɗanda an sara, wata an yanke ma hannu haka, wata an yanke ma hannu haka, then saura kuma an sassare su.
Like in Sokoto, the gradual return of activities of bandits in some parts of Zamfara is currently raising fears among inhabitants of several communities in the states.
That was a special report by Yushau Muhammad. Now moving on, the hardship caused by the current hike in petrol price in the country is said to be pushing helpless Nigerians into nefarious activities. The hike, which adversely affected transportation of goods and services, automatically caused shortage of food items and sharply increased their prices. In this special report, Omar Afanda Muhammad in Birnin Kebbi says reports across the country are indicating that the situation is fast affecting the resilience of Nigerians, forcing the helpless, hungry and less privileged to break into neighborhoods in search of quick solutions to their hunger plight. The report.
The unfortunate challenges of the unbearable cost of living across many communities in this country is indicating that Nigerians are being circumstantially forced out of their credible norms, modesty, and moral uprightness, embracing infamous behaviors and characters definitely inimical to the growth and development of this country. It is now very common to receive reports of petty thefts of food items breaking into immediate neighborhoods by helpless, jobless, and hungry Nigerians, anticipating quick solutions to their hunger problems, as well as other criminal activities that are increasingly becoming a disturbing phenomenon due to hike in the cost of living. Haruna Ali Osman, a journalist, described the situation as a time bomb.
Subsidy has brought untold hardship to Nigerians, particularly the youth. Already there have been issues of unemployment, which has been causing youth restlessness. Now this is like adding fuel into a burning fire. Now feeding has become a problem, not to only the household, even the unemployed youth. It has increased the rate of crime, like breaking of houses, for people to have something to eat.
The society is now sharply and dangerously divided between the majority poor and extremely rich minority. Just like the old trend of achieving 3 square meals in a day is now a mirage and has become a privilege exclusively reserved to either powerful business tycoons, high-profile politicians, or civil servants with lucrative positions. A bag of rice in particular, which is now beyond the country's minimum wage, as a food item is no more a commodity in the menu of poor Nigerians, while prices of all other grains commonly consumed among our communities like maize, millet, guinea corn, as well as yams and potatoes are equally becoming beyond affordability of ordinary citizens. Where next is Nigerian going to find himself if this situation persists and drastic measures are not taken and remedy its ugliness? This is a question I asked Comrade Usman Mohammed Anachi.
If this situation continues without remedy, the Nigerian is going to find himself in the grave. And if it continues, there will reach a time when nobody can even bury the dead, because the people who are there to bury the dead have not eaten the food, so they don't have even energy to dig a grave.
This same unfortunate trend of high-profile poverty is now at every filling stations, where making a full tank has become history. Traveling to relations or maintaining brotherhood are all forced out of the people's cherished norms, while in the hospitals, poor Nigerians are dying due to cost of drugs or lack of nutritious food. The historical consequences and negative implications of utter neglect of this kind of compounding problems by the authorities in many countries of the world in the past had always been catastrophic to those in charge. A stitch in time saves 9. From Benin, Kebbi State, Umar Afanda Mohammed, Trust TV.
Artisans in Bauchi State have decried the diet of menial jobs due to the prevailing economic situation in the country. They spoke in Misau local government area of the state following the rising cost of living occasioned by the fuel price hike. Trust TV's Adam Wima completes the report.
As the rising cost of living continues to bite harder, some youths in Misau local government area have resorted to going out every morning in search of menial jobs to earn a living. According to them, they said jobs were easy to come by have suddenly become very rare. They appeal to governments at all levels to do the needful in order to alleviate their sufferings. Naam. I reside at Mangari community here in Misau. We usually go out to look for menial jobs because after finishing school, we are jobless. If we remain at home, we will be labeled thieves. So we decided to come to the main road and scout for jobs. Despite the economic hardship, we are still waiting for somebody to hire us as laborers to work for the day. Since we came out in the morning, we have not been able to convey any passenger. How can we survive like this? We can only pray and beg our leaders to come up with measures to address the present situation. If not, we are all doomed. Everyone you see here has one business or the other, but because we can no longer sustain them, that is why we resort to doing Okada. Malam Mohammed, 52, also shared his current experience as a result of the economic challenges. I'm a butcher in this town. I used to slaughter 15 to 20 animals before. But now things have changed to the extent that I am struggling to feed myself, 2 wives and 15 children. We are begging the authorities to end the hardship we are facing. Although the government at the center as well as state governors have promised to roll out palliatives to reduce the current hardship, many here want the rollout hastened. Adami Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
The National Association of Proprietors of Private Schools, NAPS, has disclosed that they have concluded plans to reduce school activities that are not directly necessary to cut costs. The national president of NAPS, Abayomi Otubela, who stated this in Abuja, said considering the hardship in the country caused by fuel subsidy removal, schools will ensure only co-curricular activities are focused on. The president also noted that an increase in fees is inevitable in order to ensure that schools do not run at a loss. Meanwhile, the People's Democratic Party (PDP) Governors Forum has emphasized the need for party discipline and reiterated zero tolerance for anti-party activities and sabotage. According to the party, no individual or group of individuals will be allowed to undermine the unity of the party and its processes. These were part of the communique issued at the meeting of PDP Governors Forum with the PDP presidential candidate and party leadership this Saturday in Abuja. The party reiterated its commitment to repositioning and stabilizing the party, adding that a healing and reconciliation process is in progress and yielding results. According to the communique cited by Trust TV, governors and organs of the party remain solidly behind the PDP presidential candidate in the 2023 election, Atiku Abubakar, and his running mate, Efeanyi Okowa, in their quest to reclaim the party's mandate in the tribunal, and will do everything lawful towards achieving this. The party advised President Tinubu and the government not to go into any form of war with the Republic of Niger over the recent military coup in the country, but rather employ dialogue and diplomacy to address the situation. You're watching the news hour on Trust TV. Coming up after the break, we take a look at the story of uncommon abilities of visually impaired OAU students. Details of this and more after the break. Do stay with us.
It was never a consensus. We did all our best. You see, in politics, you give your contribution to the best of your ability.
If you want, I'll forward to you this statement. You go to this bank and verify.
But there are people who say not spending money is not a virtue in itself.
Let me finish.
Because there's so much to be done.
Let me finish. Now, you don't allow me to explain myself.
The recent development shows Abductions are now a factor of informants embedded in community.
It's not about the people of Katsina to say that, no, during my administration I was able to stop insecurity. No, it's about collective responsibility for all of us.
And what we should ask ourselves is not what has been seen, is the life better? Are there more people who are unemployed who are not become employed? Is the level of corruption has gone down? Is there inclusion? All those issues.
We're actually a gas country with associated oil. Our focus has always been on oil, that we have never paid significant attention to gas.
To do it effectively, we need to have honest conversation with ourselves. Government needs to come down from its high horse and communicate with the people and build trust.
There must be a solution. We cannot continue this way. They must come back to the table and agree. So whose child will do deny education? All these children that sit for jam, they want to go to higher institutions.
But just a short while ago you were saying that why bring 10 children when you cannot cater for them? So why bring more universities when you cannot cater for the existing?
That's great.
Welcome back, and if you are just joining us, this is the News Hour on Trust TV, and here is the recap of some of our top stories. Senate rejects President Tinubu's request to deploy troops to Niger. And police kill 1, arrest 6 other armed bandits in Zurmi, Gusau local government area of Zamfara state. Now moving on to other stories. The Federal Ministry of Health has commenced a no work, no pay policy against members of the Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors, NARD, who are on a nationwide indefinite strike. This was contained in a letter dated 1st of August 2023 and signed by the Director of Hospital Services, Andrew Noah, and addressed to Chief Medical Directors and Medical Directors of Federal Tertiary Hospitals. The letter directed the Chief Medical Directors and Medical Directors to maintain an attendance register of all residents willing to work and furnish the Ministry of such names on a monthly basis. The letter said various conciliatory meetings by the Federal Ministry of Health, Federal Ministry of Labor and Employment with government stakeholders, Secretary to the Government of the Federation and the National Assembly has proved abortive in getting NARD to call off their indefinite strike action. NARD had embarked on an indefinite strike on July 26th following the failure of the federal government to meet its demands. Meanwhile, the Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors NARD has issued notice of the decision of the National Executive Council of the association to embark on a daily peaceful protest and picketing of the Federal Ministry of Health, Office of the Head of Civil Service of the Federation, as well as all federal and state tertiary health institutions nationwide, with effect from Wednesday, August 9th. According to the statement signed by the association's president, Dr. Oji Emeka Innocent, and Secretary General Dr. Chigeki Kelechi, said the move became necessary to press home their demands, which they say have been largely neglected by their parent ministry and the federal government. They said they are pained that rather than make genuine and concerted efforts to resolve the challenges that led to the industrial action, despite repeated ultimatums, the government has chosen to demonize Nigerian resident doctors, instead despite their sacrifices and patriotism. The association therefore resolved that it is time the whole world hears their side of the story. The decay and corruption in the health sector, as well as the neglect the public health institutions have suffered all these years that led to the repeated industrial actions. In the meantime, the Kaduna State chapter of the Association of Resident Doctors ARD on Friday commenced an indefinite strike. The president of the association, Mahmoud Rafai, told the reporters in Kaduna that all doctors were given 24 hours to hand over and or discharge all patients in general and rural hospitals in the state. Rafai said the association demanded full implementation of the new federal government calmness and skipping as well as upward review with immediate effect. Rafai said doctors were still on 59% of the reviewed 2009 CONMES, which was implemented 2014, adding that the Congress observed non-implementation of the reviewed Medical Residency Training Act, MRTA, and non-payment of the Medical Residency Training Fund, MRTF, for years, which helped doctors on residency program. According to him, the Congress also expresses concern that the government has yet to release circular for recruitment of new staff to replace those who have exited the various secondary health facilities across the state. Now, on security, the police command in Lagos State has confirmed the arrest of 3 persons following the death of Dr. Nwere Diasu at the General Hospital in Lagos. The command spokesperson, SP Benjamin Hondeyin, confirmed the arrest on Saturday in Lagos. Hondeyin, who did not mention the identities of the suspects, said that the police had begun investigation into the case. The case involves a faulty elevator at the General Hospital, Odan, Lagos, which claimed the life of a medical doctor, Nwere Diasu, who was working at the facility. The incident reportedly happened on Wednesday evening when the deceased, who lived on the 9th floor of the building, wanted to meet a dispatch rider who had brought her the food she earlier ordered online. The deceased, a graduate of Babcock University, Alicia Remo, Ogun State, was said to be undergoing her mandatory one-year internship program at the hospital and had less than 2 years to complete the program before the tragedy happened. One of the easiest ways of maintaining personal hygiene among women is the use of sanitary pads. However, in recent times, users in Makurdi, the Benue State capital, have been complaining of the high cost of pads, a situation they say may deal a negative blow to their personal hygiene. Jimmy Azandi reports.
According to the women, sanitary pads are a basic need and not a want that is becoming out of the reach of many due to persistent increase in price.
It is true that the prices of sanitary pads have increased and is standing on our girls right now. It is very sad that some people have to even drop to as low as using pieces, which is very unhealthy. But do they have the choice in a community like this? And with the recent removal of subsidy, the price of everything is on the high side. And the most funny part of it is that salaries are not increasing, no means of, especially for students that solely have to depend on their parents.
As a result of the high cost, some have resorted to improvisation with unhygienic methods.
It has come to an notice that these materials or these pieces of clothes can lead to infection because of the constant usage of these materials. And even when these materials are washed, they are not kept in the open for sun, and they are kept in an enclosed area where sun cannot shine on them or penetrate through. And with that, they develop fungi and bacteria, and at the end of the day, it causes infection.
They urge the government to assist women in this all-important aspect of their lives.
So my own idea, or what I'm trying to say, or like I'm trying to talk about, is we are pleading, I'm also pleading with the government that they should at least reduce some prices of things, so that people that doesn't have money or don't have much will be able to like afford these things and then take care of themselves. Or better still, people that have money, like rich people, even if you are not rich but you can afford this, I think it's very nice for you to like get away to buy all these things for those that cannot afford it, so that they can at least take care of themselves.
We stand to enlighten on the sanitary pad, which its price has gone up, and I am here to enlighten young men and older men out there that it isn't a bad thing or morally infuriating something to purchase these pads for women or girls who need it, saying that the price has gone up.
Some of the women who preferred not to be captured on the camera said many of their folks use unimaginable items to help themselves instead of the sanitary pads. Jimmy Azande, Trust TV News, Makurdi.
A 24-year-old student of Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, Osun State, Motue Taif, is defying the challenge of visual impairment to study as an undergraduate. Taufik, who is a drummer and a footballer, is also vast in computer knowledge, among other skills. Hamid Oyebade brings in the report.
Like every other student, visually impaired Mutiu Tohib, a Part 3 student of Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, faces the rigor of academic activities. Though he cannot see, Tohib, however, attends lectures regularly, writes tests and examinations together with his classmates.
So I wrote my JAMB, then to the glory of God, I was able to meet the requirements of Obafemi Awolowo University. Then I was admitted as a political science student, but due to one or two reasons, I have to change my course. Now I'm in English education. That's what I'm studying right now.
During his primary and secondary school days, Tohib was taught with Braille, but at the university level, textbooks and other course materials were not available in Braille. So he improvised. Tohib is multi-talented.
To the glory of God, I'm a visually impaired, and I still thank God that I'm able to do some things that those that can see cannot do. Such as, I can play drum. I'm a professional drummer. Then I operate computer frequently. Fluently self.
Tohib's primary school teacher, Stephen Oluwafemi, lamented the plight of visually impaired people in Nigeria.
It's very tedious, even seriously, because in a place where other counterpart is going that can trek without looking for transportation, it's not like that for the visually impaired. So it's very serious.
Stakeholders want government and public-spirited individuals to assist visually impaired people with facilities that will enable them to succeed in life. Hamid Oyebade, Trust TV News, Osogbo.
Nursing mothers have been encouraged to practice exclusive breastfeeding for the first 6 months after delivery. Wife of Borno State Governor Falmata Zulum made the call during an event to mark World Breastfeeding Week at the Specialist Hospital Maiduguri. Adam Ngolde has more on this.
The theme of this year's Breastfeeding Week is enabling breastfeeding, making a difference for working parents. The week is marked in recognition of the relevance of breastfeeding and challenges faced by working mothers in their workplaces. Wife of Borno State Governor Falmata Zulum said working mothers face challenges despite the significant roles they play in the society. She said the state government has put strong mechanisms in partnership with relevant organizations to improve breastfeeding rates for working mothers to save lives and ensure optimal growth of infants.
I would like to remind us all that as mothers, we all know that naturally we have a covenant with our babies because breastfeeding is a natural obligation that helps build a special bond, compassion, care and love between the mother and her child from cradle to adulthood.
The governor's wife said the breastfeeding week will go a long way in creating awareness on the health of the mother and her child, stressing the need to create a conducive environment for mothers to breastfeed their children at workplace. Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Health, Dr. Mohamed Guluze, described breastfeeding as the most effective means of child survival, urging mothers to breastfeed.
This week was started in 1992 to generate public awareness and support for breastfeeding. According to WHO, breastfeeding is one of the most effective ways to ensure child health and survival. I therefore enjoin all mothers to take full advantage.
Some Maiduguri residents expressed different opinions on the 6-month exclusive breastfeeding without water to promote healthy growth of the baby.
My name is Aisha Babalama. Breastfeeding is very important, especially to children under 2 years. And I urge parents to please breastfeed their children for at least 2 years.
World Breastfeeding Week is an annual celebration which is held every year.
We also need to efficient interventions
in more than 120 countries. From Maiduguri, Adamu Gulde, Trust TV News.
Police in Lagos parade 39 suspects involved in criminal activities like criminal conspiracy, armed robbery, unlawful possession of firearms, and breach vandalization in state. Police Commissioner in the state, Idowu Owunwa, also launched Operation Flush to rid the state of criminals. Victoria Tokolo, who was there, brings us more on this report.
The Commissioner of Police, Idowu Owunwa, summoned all area commanders, DPOs and other divisional heads and gave them marching orders to arrest any criminal and curb violent crimes in this state. The police boss also said 39 suspects, including a 47-year-old woman from Oyo State who makes a living through diverting people's goods from containers at port, was arrested. 2 other suspects have also been arrested for involvement in breach vandalism in the state. Items recovered from the suspects are 4 Toyota vehicles, 3 cars and 1 jeep, breach drilling irons, foreign currencies, among others.
The Commissioner of Police is assuring Lagosians again and again that we have a listening ear. The moment people have the confidence or develop the confidence to report cases to us, we would respond accordingly. We got information about robberies at Orile doing bus stop, and that made the CP go there personally. We got reports of petty crime around 1004 estates. And if you ask the residents of 1004 estates, if you know anyone, they ask, and they will tell you that the CP was there personally yesterday. So he's a commissioner of police who has a listening ear, who is dedicated to duty. So we're calling on Lagosians to keep on giving us information so that we can do the needful, and together with the continuous support of members of the public and other stakeholders, we'll be able to make Lagos State remain on that highly coveted small list of safest states in the country.
One of the suspects, Adiniro Jeremiah, who is a commercial driver, confessed to robbing passengers at night, disposing them of their bags and phones.
I picked up on Friday night along Ijego Road. I saw her inside the shop, and instantly she recognized me because I was not with a nose mask. And she was like, it's the one. That was how I was arrested and taken to Ikoton police station.
Commissioner of Police Lagos State, Idowu, urged residents to be alert when using cabs not to fall victims of armed robbery, especially at night.
You're still watching News Hour on Trust TV. The news will continue shortly after the break. Do stay with us. Welcome back, and now let's join Chiamaka Nwafo for Business News Update.
S&P Global Ratings has revised its outlook on Nigeria to stable from negative, citing the government's recent reforms, which the credit ratings agency believes could benefit the country's growth and fiscal outcomes if delivered. S&P's sovereign analyst Frank Gill said last month that the ratings agency was closely watching Nigeria ahead of its review on August 4th and added that recent reforms were positive signs. The World Bank has said it expects Nigeria could save up to 3.9 trillion naira this year alone from reforms, but warned of growing short-term inflationary pressures. Nigeria's President Bola Tinubu has embarked on the country's boldest reforms in decades, which he hopes will kickstart growth and attract foreign investors into a country that has suffered chronic dollar shortages, making it difficult for companies to thrive. A report released by the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission (NERC) shows that distribution companies installed 171,107 meters for consumers in the first quarter of 2023. The figure represents an additional 6,495 meters installed, which is a 3.95% increase compared to the 164,612 meters installed in quarter 4 of 2022. According to the report, only 5.36 million of the registered 12.38 million subscribers have prepaid meters. The report shows that the meter asset provider MARP scheme covered 92.71% of the total 171,107 installations in the quarter under review. And finally, in stocks, a total turnover of 2.575 billion shares worth 29.615 billion naira in 37,713 deals was traded this week by investors on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange. The financial services industry measured by volume led the activity chart, while the conglomerates industry and the oil and gas industry followed in second and third place respectively. Trading in the top 3 equities measured by volume is ICO Insurance PLC, FCMB Group PLC, and Transnational Corporation PLC. The NGX All Share Index and market capitalization appreciated by 0.22% to close the week at 65,198.08 and 35.480 trillion naira, respectively. 42 equities appreciated in price during the week, 52 depreciated in price, while 61 equities remained unchanged. And that's it on Business News. I am Chiamaka Nwafo.
Away from Nigeria, firefighters say they evacuated more than 130 people as they fought on Saturday to control a wildfire at Portbou on the Spanish border with France on the Mediterranean coast. Firefighters from Spain's northeast region of Catalonia teamed up with the French colleagues as the blaze ravaged some 435 hectares of land, with an estimated 2,500 hectares threatened. Local people were evacuated overnight from several villages as a precaution hours after the fire was declared to the south of Portbou, whose railway station connects Spain with France. Catalan forest rangers said on Twitter that an investigation was underway into the cause of the fire. A statement on the Catalan regional government's website added that the blaze remains active, noting that their priority was to prevent it from encroaching on the nearby tourist resort of Lanka to the south. Strong winds had helped the fire to spread overnight and prevented water-bombing plans from taking off to aid a fighting operation complicated by the hell terrain affected. Police have arrested Pakistan's former Prime Minister Imran Khan in the eastern city of Lahore after a Pakistan trial court sentenced him to 3 years in prison for illegally selling state gifts. The 70-year-old cricketer turned politician was accused of misusing his premiership minister from 2018 to 2022 to buy and sell gifts in state possession that were received during visits abroad and worth more than 140 million Pakistani rupees. Khan's lawyer Intezar Ranjota said police arrested Khan from his residence adding that they are filing a petition against the decision in High Court. Protocol requires Prime Minister to store the objects in the state safe house, while Khan is accused of having sold them for a profit. The conviction came just a day after Pakistan's High Court had temporarily halted the district court trial. He has denied any wrongdoing, saying the charges are politically motivated. And now finally on sport, the Tigers of Nigeria has won the women Afrobasket for the fourth consecutive time with 84-74 point win over Senegal at BK Arena, Kigali, Rwanda. The fourth-time champions of the Nigerian women's national basketball team, the Tigers, won back-to-back 4 times in a row by defeating Senegal in the final of FIBA Women's Afrobasket to secure the 6th overall title. The Tigers, led by coach Reina Wakama, defeated Congo, Egypt, Mozambique, hosted Rwanda to make the final against Senegal. Still on football news, the Nigerian Volleyball Federation (NBF) has invited 19 players to come in preparations for the 2023 African Women's Senior Volleyball Championship built for Cameroon from 14th to 29 August 2023. The list released by Technical Directors of Nigeria Volleyball Federation, Martin Melendi, has 2022 National Best Setter Enwa Odo, Best Spiker Ejoma Opambi, and Best Libero Jummai Petrus. The most valuable player in 2022 Nigeria Volleyball League, Kelechi Indukabu, as well as MVP of 2023 African Under-21 Women's Nations Championship, Mariam Usman, made the list. The technical representative of the board of NBPF said the technical committee confirmed Samuel Ajayi as head coach to be assisted by Priscilla Aguera. Nigeria's senior women's volleyball team finished 4th position at the 2021 African Nations Champion held in Kigali, Rwanda. And with that, we have come to the end of News Hour on Trust TV. Do not forget to follow us across all our media platforms and our YouTube live stream. I am Abdurrahman Omar. Thanks for watching and bye for now.
From the Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.